about the NFC North Preview. Again, we're getting into all these big teams that, you know, different expectations last year, different expectations this year. We got some who are these guys? Are they real? Are they not? Joker's ready to talk about his Vikings. But let's talk about the landscape from a betting perspective and see where everything lies. So, division for this one. Let's break it down. The Detroit Lions are currently favorites to win this division, plus 145. They're the sexy pick this year, guys. They're the ones that everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, all the hype from last year, moving into this year. Minnesota won the division last year, and we called it, Scotty. We were correct last year. Let's go.
It's a miracle.
So Minnesota, we'll see. We'll talk about their prospects. Also, Green Bay has a quarterback that we're kind of in the wait and see stage with. Jordan Love getting his first crack at his first full NFL season. And then you got the Chicago Bears with Justin Fields at plus 430 carrying it. So Lions plus 145, Minnesota plus 260, Packers plus 350, and then Chicago plus 430. Now let's talk about the win totals. Win totals, if we're diving into these ones, the Chicago Bears over under 7.5 wins. Here is their total, minus 122 at the over. You got the Detroit Lions over under 9.5 wins at minus 122 for the over. You got the Green Bay Packers over under 7.5 wins. Over is minus 122. And then you have the Minnesota Vikings over 8.5 is minus 128. So you got the over as a favorite for Minnesota. You have the over as the favorite for Green Bay. You have the over as the favorite for Detroit. And you have an over as a favorite for the Chicago Bears. Are all these teams going to hit their overs, Scotty? I don't think so.
Obviously.
But let's dive in. As a whole, any initial thoughts before we dive in team by team previews?
No, I mean, this is going to be another dogfight of a division, Chris. I mean, there's opinions all over the board. There's people that believe in the Bears to win. That, you know, Justin Fields is the truth. Now he's getting help. They're turning around. You know, the division winners of last year, almost no one is talking about because they don't believe in the Vikings because they won a lot of close games last year. You have obviously the up and coming Lions, which it feels weird to say out loud that they're the favorites, but that's apparently the case, Chris. No, and they deserve to be. And then the unknown in Green Bay for the first time in 47 seasons. We don't know how good their quarterback play is going to be.
It's wild. Plain Lady says they are not real. By the way, that Plain Lady, I should get that sound drop ASAP.
Yeah, she apologized.
She apologized. Yeah, she came out with a statement. But that motherfucker's still not real.
I was hoping she explained what the hell happened, but she didn't really do that.
No, she's caught the internet by storm. By the way,
I don't even know what the context is. I haven't heard this yet.
There was a lady on the
wait. Hold on. Rec, you don't know what we're talking about?
Oh,
bruh. Rec. You got to get in the social media world.
Are you punking us right now?
No, I seriously do not know what happened.
Oh my! I thought the entire world.
Everybody knows about this.
I'll text my mom right now, and she'll be like, "Oh yeah."
Even Scotty, your mom is going to be like, Rec doesn't know. And then she's going to say, that motherfucker is not real. Because he's not.
I am real.
Long story short,
keep it very short, because everyone else in the world knows.
Everyone else knows. There's a lady that was on a plane, and there was like, you know, those Karens that are on planes or whatever. And she was like causing a ruckus, right? She was like, you know, can you describe the ruckus, sir? Side tangent. She was like, pointing back at the back of this plane, saying this plane is in bad situation here. That guy back there is not real. And she was just carrying on, freaking out. She was removed from the plane. and she was, I think, arrested for a little bit, but then she was never charged or something. It was weird. But like everyone was going conspiracy theory status, saying like the guy that she was pointing at that was saying it was not real is like an alien or a lizard person or a conspiracy type thing. It was weird. So then everyone was speculating.
Okay, I'm kind of glad.
Turned out it was Patrick Mahomes.
Motherfucker's not real. Rec, that is your homework between now and the next show. So make sure you go.
I have a better idea. No.
All right. Keep watching that Kenny Pickett preseason pass over and over again. You do you, Rec.
No, I'll keep writing about Kenny Pickett too, and how he's going to win the division.
Bengals win the poll, by the way, for AFC North.
Ooh.
There you go. You can't handle
the away fashion. 5-1-1-1, and we all know the one for Steelers.
That was Ducky.
Oh, okay. Well, same thing.
All right. Let's start out. You know what? Let's start out with the Joker. Joker's here hanging out with us. Let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings. What do you say? Minnesota Vikings here, coming in as the defending champions in this division. All the hype was we kind of got ahead of the hype last year, Scotty, before everyone else did. We were like, oh, Minnesota Vikings have a really good chance. But can they avoid the hangover is the biggest question. 13-4 record, but they were, again, like at the end of the season, they were a team that nobody really believed in, right? They were like
Chris, they went 13-4 with a -3 point differential last year.
What is the term?
They were a minus point differential.
Is it
13-4? Is
the term paper tigers? Are they were they paper tigers? Like, is that a thing? I don't know if that's
not
right.
Like they were terrible. They just weren't 13-4 good.
No,
not even close.
But like, yeah, it just wasn't like a situation where you felt strong about given their record, given they won the division, given the dominance that they had, and if you want to call it that, we all felt really good about them. And then this postseason hit and no one gave them a chance. And it was just a strange dynamic. 13 wins were by one score, the most such wins in a single season in league history. On the flip side, all the Vikings losses were by at least 10 points. So that's kind of a strange season. But, I think that this is an interesting situation, right? Brian Flores is going to be on the defensive side, I think, right? I think he joined the...
Yeah, he's the DC now, so that's an automatic upgrade.
So that's 100% it's an automatic upgrade. I feel like he's going to come in and do some work there. But I think overall, this could be a team that is maybe, in a sense, getting overlooked again, given the Detroit Lions are getting so much love. Green Bay Packers have a young quarterback, and Chicago Bears have a young quarterback that needs to, step up as well. So at plus 260, Scotty, is Minnesota an interesting value to win this division? Or are we is inevitable? The Detroit Lions, based off of their coaching, the player personnel, they're runaway favorites. What are we looking at with the Minnesota Vikings?
I don't think anyone's runaway favorites. I don't know. Vikings were just so fortunate last year, and now I want to cheer for them more because of Kirk Cousins, like I talked about before. Yeah. Like way more of an interesting guy than I thought. They didn't do a ton in free agency to change the roster dramatically. Byron Murphy in the secondary might help, to a defense that, quite frankly, the defense was not very good.
They underperformed. Honestly.
Yeah. They were kind of aging, kind of getting up there. And then they didn't add a ton in the offseason. They did add more weapons at the, they lose Adam Thielen, but how big of a loss is that now? They add Jordan Addison in the draft with their first round pick at a USC, get a playmaker there. Listen, they're going to be exciting on offense. They're going to be they're going to play in a ton of close games, but I fully expect them to drop down to 8 or 9 wins this year. off the 13 from last year. And that's okay. That's kind of the team they actually are. They just, fortunately got a lot of breaks. I mean, just look back to that like Buffalo game last year where, yeah, it was neck and neck and it could have gone either way, but then Buffalo all but had that game, and instead they fumbled a snap that allowed Minnesota to win that game in overtime. So
there was also Justin Jefferson making a catch of the year candidate.
Yeah, like a catch. In no disrespect to Justin Jefferson, obviously, I don't even know if Justin Jefferson makes that catch 1 out of 100 times, more than 1 out of 100 times.
It was insane.
It was an insane catch to keep that drive alive in the first place. So, I mean, you got the best wide receiver in the league. You got weapons. You got T.J. Hawkinson, who they acquired, near the deadline last year. Now more acquainted with Kirk Cousins. So you certainly have weapons for Kirk Cousins. You do lose, obviously, Dalvin Cook. But we'll see if Madison can take on that full-time role for him. But really, I don't trust this defense, Chris. I don't think this defense is good enough to, make this team elite and a real strong competitor, even in a weak NFC.
Well, yeah, and the thing too, I mean, we were kind of hyping up Minnesota from a defensive pass rush rating, and we were like, oh man, they got some really decent players, and they were very below average on that standpoint. Like, they didn't achieve as much as they probably should have. And now I don't know if Flores comes in and makes that adjustment to where they can get a little bit more value out of that defense, which I would say you should probably be a little bit better, right? I mean, sacks, they were 21st. QB pressures, they were tied for 10th. Pressure rate, they were 19th. And blitz rate, they were 25th. Like, they were not very good defensively across the board compared to, like, the personnel that they had in place. So, a lot of just underachieving in that department. So if they even get a little bit better there, I think that assures that they could continually be, at the top of this division along with the Detroit Lions. But I'm a little shaky on the defense still. Until I see it, I'm still not 100% sold.
Little sus.
Little sus. But Justin Jefferson makes up for a lot. So, again, you can put up a ton of points with Justin Jefferson. He's going to be always available. Like, I think we were talking a while back about, like, oh yeah, just create a game plan for him. Yeah, people have done that, and it hasn't worked. So you still have a lot of insane options at the top of that pecking order, with Justin Jefferson being the biggest option. But overall, I think the Minnesota Vikings could be an interesting value at plus 260 to take away this division. But let's shift over to let's talk about the Chicago Bears a little bit. The Bears have a very interesting scenario as well, right? Because they have DJ Moore, right? They made some moves to help Justin Fields out a little bit. Justin Fields coming in, he was kind of at the end of the season working into a little bit more of his own, but some people are saying maybe he's overrated based off of like what he's done and what like people are hyping him up to be. Versus what he can actually do. Completion percentage last 60% completion percentage, 2,200 yards, 17 touchdowns, 11 interceptions was what he finished out with. But this was one of the NFL's worst defenses. So it's not just a Justin Fields issue. They're bad on defense. So that's another issue that they figure out. And then they got to figure out how to get pressure on the quarterback, which was a struggle for them last year as well. So Scotty, what do you think about the Chicago Bears? They're picked last in this division. They're still working on building up a roster. No one, I don't think, is expecting. If they were to even compete for this division, I think I'd be surprised. But what do you think? I think the biggest question is Justin Fields, whether or not he's that guy.
Yeah, listen, no one holds Justin Fields apparently accountable for anything thus far. And granted, he hasn't had great weapons, and he's had an abomination of offensive line in front of him. So I get that for sure. Now there's still some throws where I'm like, dude, the guy just missed here. So, and getting through. Hopefully, I think, quite frankly, they just need to like simplify his throws. Don't make him throw downfield as much. Give him some easier passes. Get the confidence up. especially with an offensive line that's still probably not going to be that good this year. They did invest first round pick Darnell Wright, tackle out of Tennessee, to help shore up that offensive line. But they also got Nate Davis at guard, who was effective last year. Spam code yellow in the chat. Chris has got to pee. So spam the code yellow. We'll welcome Chris back in just a brief moment. They added a ton of Tremaine Edmonds from Buffalo. It's a nice pickup. They changed the running back position from David Montgomery to Deontay Foreman, which to me is kind of a push. Do take the Robert Tonyan, who had a brief spotlight of success at tight end with the Packers. So we'll see. Obviously, Cole Kmet's still the top tight end there, and they gave him a contract as well in the offseason. So this Bears team's growing into who they can be. They add DJ Moore, but they traded out of the number 1 overall pick for a reason. That they had the number 1 overall pick because they had the worst record in the NFL last year. So you pick up DJ Moore, you have some weapons, but this team still has a ways to go and isn't quite there for me yet. So I'd still pick them to finish last in the NFC North going into this year. I think they'll take some steps certainly forward, which is hard not to do when you're the worst in the NFL, but I just think they have a long way to go. Now they're exciting to watch. Justin Fields is exciting to watch with the ball in his hands. A great runner of the football, obviously, and at times makes some flash throws. I just think he needs to get more consistent with his reads, more consistent with his ball placement. And if he can do that, there is no limit to his potential. And I think he might have that in him. Certainly he can improve on it. He's a better thrower of the football than some of these other run first guys. Like he's a better thrower of the football than Lamar Jackson is, in my opinion. Now he misses a lot. He's too inconsistent with that accuracy, but natural talent at throwing the football, it's not close between Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. Justin Fields is a better thrower of the ball. What do we got in the chat? Special J. They're going to win 5 games. Adolph Beer Run. Be right back. Hey, hopefully you get right back here, but never apologize for a beer run, obviously. I think Chris might have got one as well.
I did. Got a little extra beer on the way.
B-double-E-double-R-U-N-O. That's not a beer. A seltzer.
Got a little seltzy.
And then Dr. J. Why do you think most QBs that come out of Ohio State stink in the NFL?
You're very wrong. It's the Ohio State.
No, the Ohio State. One. I don't like to refer them that way. There's only one Ohio State, so of course it's the Ohio State. No one's arguing that point, but stop saying the part. You're the only Ohio State. No one's arguing that you're the Ohio State, but no one else wants to be Ohio State.
Okay? Can we do like the Colorado State Rams?
Everyone can do it if they want.
Like
it doesn't make no sense, Chris. It doesn't make no sense. I like to, and what most evaluators in the NFL would say, certainly all really, is you separate the prospect from the team. So you separate the performance of a quarterback that went to Ohio State 10 years ago shouldn't sway your opinion on a quarterback that's coming out now. Like, you should look at that prospect totally separate from that. But yeah, thus far, you haven't had an Ohio State guy really come through, but like, you could say that at times about a lot of schools, and eventually they get one to break through. So it's just a matter of time. I'm sure one will break through. Hasn't really worked out with a ton of top picks and a lot of talent thus far at Ohio State. I think the book's still out on Justin Fields on whether he can be that guy. Right now, he's certainly not, but I think he at least has some potential to maybe move towards at least being the best Ohio State quarterback we've seen come out in a while. Otherwise, you'd have to ask Colin Cowherd about some of those Ohio
I
State
was about to bring that up too.
he would know better than me.
Chairman, I think the part of it is, as much as I hate to admit this of UNM fan, OSU always seems to have elite wide receivers that can make quarterbacks look good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they have the number one wide receiver in the country this year. Little doubt about that, and Marvin Harrison Jr. And yeah, they had 2 go in the first round. Last year they had 1 again this year, and the top wide receiver taken this year. It's like wide receiver U right now, so that certainly plays a role in it for sure.
Yeah,
like he's playing with better quarterbacks in college than he's going to have in his NFL roster. Like that's you don't see that often when in any position group in the NFL, but
they also have good linemen. They have good linemen usually,
and certainly outmatching the defensive lines they're playing.
What's up, Joey? Iowa State got better QBs in the NFL than Ohio State. Brock Purdy. I mean, Brock Purdy.
I'll take Justin Fields over Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy hasn't really had the same.
Let's see if he can do it for a whole season.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if you're asking me the best option, we were kind of talking about this earlier with the 49ers, but I mean, Purdy seems to be the best option currently, which it's not saying much. We got to see what the kid can do, first of all, but he showed out a little bit at the end of last season. Can he do a full season? So yeah, I think the biggest thing is Justin Fields and whether or not they're going to get the most out of him. But I think that there's a lot of other areas on this team outside of Justin Fields that are going to be holding this team back a little bit. So again, going from the worst defense in the NFL to whatever we're going to see this year, that's going to be probably a work in progress. So I guess we'll start with whether or not they're going to get better in other areas of the football. But outside of that, guys, let us know what you guys think. And I put a poll in the chat briefly on.
Yeah, it was unanimous for no.
So all right. So you guys, is he that guy? Is Justin Fields that guy? And you guys said
I think
you're not that guy.
He could have been that guy if he went to a different team.
I guess I would need a definition of that. He certainly isn't that guy yet, but I still think there's potential.
He definitely has potential to be a great quarterback. He was put in a bad situation. Team they're getting better, but there's still not much around Fields, so he's not going to hit his potential and end up being that guy.
Yeah. So I think there's potential. I think that he has a high ceiling. Whether or not he reaches that ceiling is another story. So
that's definitely a case of going to the wrong team.
I mean, there are situations where players do. I mean, I feel like, and maybe this is maybe a segment for another show, but how many players who have gone to bad situations, i.e., like I can think of a ton that have gone to like the Cleveland Browns. I mean, Johnny Manziel is one that I mean, maybe he goes to. I mean, based off of the documentary we watched. I think, like, regardless of where he went, the stardom and the fandom and everything else,
he was screwed no matter what.
He was screwed no matter what. But like, if he goes to like a team that I don't know, like there's a lot of question marks of if you go to the right team, would that have changed the outcome of a terrible career that ended up,
Everyone in Denver is hoping Justin Fields is not that guy.
Yeah.
Well, currently,
a lot of people felt like they should have taken him, and obviously you took Pat Surtain, and but positional value.
Positional value is different.
If Justin Fields is that guy, then you should have taken Justin Fields. Now, obviously, Pat Surtain's working out just fine, but again, quarterback's more important.
100%. I would rather take a good quarterback with value point over a corner that,
I mean, you could get in 2 years, you could go get Arch Manning.
Well, Scotty doesn't think Arch Manning is that guy.
Noodle arm Manning?
Pal, trust me.
Yep.
You're not that guy.
The nephew of the other noodle arms.
Well, I think Arch might be a bit of a noodle arm. I worry about his arm strength. just looking at tape. But that's just my professional opinion.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Can't handle the
Dr.
truth.
J, I don't think Terrell Pryor played for the Chiefs. I remember him at the Raiders for sure.
Hey, Joker. Thank you for the
Let's go.
15
Thank you
months.
for the sub.
He might
Joker.
have played receiver for the Chiefs.
By
I'll
the
check
way-
real quick.
By the
I
way,
don't think so.
Joker, I don't know if the Vikings have a Sunday night football game, but if they are, again, we're trying to get all of your fans, like, so Dr. J for the Raiders, Joker for the Vikings, so on and so forth. We know all of your favorite teams. We are going to be doing Sunday night football as always, like our bingo card. Always doing that. All the fun stuff we have with that Sunday night football broadcast. However, we want to start bringing you guys in and getting you guys involved. So make sure you guys are here, and we want to do like a fan face off. So if it's like this, like I know these like whatever, just random example. Steelers and Vikings play on a Sunday night football. We want Joker and we want Wreck, or we want Joker and we want.
It's better than that because right now, week 11, it's scheduled Vikings Broncos, Chris.
Yeah, so
Ooh.
Joker, you and I just get on here. Let's have some fun. Let's do it. So that being said, guys, we want to make sure you guys are involved more and more with the show as we, get bigger and bigger. So make sure you guys are continuously being a part of the show. We have a lot of surprises in store for you guys. But
And Scotty, just so you know, he was a Chief for all of 4 months, and none of them were during football season.
Okay. That makes
Yeah, like
more
the
sense.
20
I'm like, he did not play in a game for us.
The 2015 offseason. He
Okay.
was signed in January, cut in May.
That makes more sense because I'm like, what I famously remember about Terrell Pryor is when he was quarterback for the Raiders, it was a late game situation where we had sacked him a few times, and then the Raiders were in like a 4th and like 40. It was awesome.
Oh my god.
4th and 40.
I'll have to, now I want to Google Chiefs.
All right.
Chiefs Raiders 4th and 40.
All right, let's talk while you're pulling that up. Let's start working on the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers here. Favored to win 3rd place in this division. Plus 350 to win, actually, in this breakdown. But looking at their over under total, we're at 7.5, which is over minus 122, which means they're going to win over 7.5 games. They're going to win 8 games minimum. Now, is that realistic with a new quarterback? We got J Love. You got to embrace the love, Scotty. We're embracing the love this year, and we think that you might need to give this kid a shot, or at least don't judge the kid before he gets in and starts doing some work, first of all. Now, we've had questions about Jordan Love and whether or not he's been ready, because if not, would you have moved to him a little bit earlier? Would you have been able to feel a little bit more comfortable to let Aaron Rodgers walk? I know he's an MVP and he's been around the league and he's been, Aaron Rodgers, but at the same time, you haven't really been excited to move to J Love. So I think that, Aaron Rodgers poached some we got the New York Packers going on over in the Jets organization currently. But how good is Jordan Love going to be year one, and will it be enough to make the postseason? I personally, with all the circumstances, I'm not ready to say that they're going to even be in the playoffs this year. However, I'm excited to see what Jordan Love. There's a lot of rookie quarterbacks or young quarterbacks in the league this year. Last year was the year of who are you? Are you the guy? Are you that guy? And we did that with, Tua, and we did that with a couple other players. This year, I think, is the year of the young QBs and what we got. The Kenny Pickett's, the Jordan Loves, are you going to be kind of similar to last year? Are you that guy? Are you going to be promising enough to carry your team? It's a lot to ask, but Scotty, what do you think about J Love and the Green Bay Packers this year?
Yeah, real quick, I did find the Google, and I was a little off. It was actually It was 3rd and 48 for the Raiders in a late fourth quarter situation. On 3rd down, they threw an incomplete pass. So it was 4th and 48, and I think they punted. So, yeah, 3rd and 48.
How we doing tonight?
I knew. I kept hearing in my headphones. I'm like, what is Milwaukee's doing? Is he just like jumping? Is he in? Is he out?
What is it?
Welcome in, Milwaukee's our resident Green Bay Packer fanatic. Good to have you in. Real quick before we get to your thoughts on the Green Bay Packers, want to get to a couple comments in the chat. J-Lev is the pride and joy of Utah State, says Dr. J. Joey, I don't think I can handle J-Love being a top 10 quarterback all time. Might have to. I mean, you're getting aggressive there with that.
I would. That'd be frustrating if the Packers got another one, right?
Yeah, I always want to see it. I always want to see it just to watch the NFC collapse.
It's aggressive to be like, can you get back to back to back? Like, that's crazy.
I kind of want to see it.
First edition, Docu, what's up? Love only play one series against the Bengals. I haven't seen much from him yet. Maybe next week's game they'll play him more. Yeah, maybe. Welcome in, Donkey. Good to have you back in. But let's actually, Milwaukee's our mod, our resident Packer fan. What is your take on the Packers this year and how they compete and how they stack up to the rest of the NFC North?
Before I get started on the Packers, I will say I do think Justin Fields is a great quarterback. Did you guys watch the series QB1 on Netflix where they went through all the high school quarterbacks?
I didn't watch his season. I didn't watch his season. I watched the first one they had of that, which he was not in, but
he was in there, and yeah, he looks like a stud. Like I've always been a fan of Justin Fields, and I'll commend the Bears as much as it hates me to say it. Yes.
I mean, you've owned the Bears as far as Aaron Rodgers is concerned. So,
and Brett Favre.
Yeah, fair enough.
But no, the Packers, I mean,
do you believe in love?
We got literally the youngest wide receivers and tight ends group in NFL history. And our oldest guy at tight end position, Davis, just went out for a season during the preseason game, and he was 3 years. And now we have a rookie quarterback on the who. The rest of the team is stacked.
What do you hear locally about Love? Do you, like, as far as radio, as far as like the news and everything else? Obviously, we don't get the same kind of coverage here in Denver. But what are you hearing? Is it like, do you feel great about him? Like, based off of what you're expecting going into the season?
I mean, the local beat reporters say he sucks. But the fans are like, we got to give the guy a chance. Like, he's a rookie. He's throwing literally Christian Watson had 7 games last year. Romeo Dobbs played in 6. Musgrave is a rookie. He's our starting tight end.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. I want to know more about how Luke Musgrave's looked in camp, because he was my favorite tight end coming out as far as from a pass catching standpoint. Has he flashed at all in camp?
To be honest with you, Scotty, he's a physical beast from what I'm hearing.
The motherfucker's not real?
He doesn't have hands.
Oh, what?
Oh, no.
That's what they're saying. His hands aren't there yet.
Why would you draft a guy that high that doesn't have 2 hands? And how did I not know this?
I mean,
and then they drafted Kraft in the 3rd round because Musgraves can't block, or apparently what they're saying he's
or can't catch.
Or can't catch. What can he do?
Cool.
He's a physical beast. I mean, the guy's a monster.
Sounds like everything's sunshine and rainbows in camp for the Packers thus far. Jordan Love sucks. Your tight end can't catch. You have young wide receivers that are unproven, but everywhere else you're stacked.
Not just young. The youngest wide receiver and tight end core ever in the history in NFL.
You say that as if that's a good thing.
It's not. It's terrible.
Okay. Yeah.
But
it shouldn't
we got a really good defense.
Yeah, you have like 8 first rounders on your between your first and second string depth chart on defense. Like there's a ton of, I mean, we all know you guys don't like drafting offensive players in the first round. So that's why you have so many first rounders on the defensive side of the ball. I felt personally like the defense underachieved last year a little bit just based off of the roster they had. But part of me thinks they're going to play a little harder and a little tougher with Rodgers gone.
My understanding is Joe Barry and Jair Alexander held on him last year. Yeah, we're going to do a little more man-to-man. We're going to press. We're going to be aggressive. Enough of this laying off bullshit. Pardon my language, but they were not happy with that. Like, that week 1 game where we talked about this, Justin Jefferson went nuts. They were like, no more of this shit.
Yeah. This sounds great. This sounds like you guys are going to be in for a great season.
So where do they finish? Right, Milwaukee's. Where does the Packer finish this season in this division? In your you maybe you give us your biased opinion, or maybe you give us.
No, I'll give you my honest opinion. Our 2 backup quarterbacks, Clifford the Big Red Dog and Mr. Magoo.
Gets better.
That's their name. We got Sean Clifford, a rookie out of Penn State, who wasn't even supposed to be drafted, and Alex Magoo, MVP to XFL. Those are our backup quarterbacks. It's ridiculous. I think Jordan Love gets hurt probably week 1 against the Bears because they're going to blitz the shit out of them. Yeah, we go 3-14.
Oh my!
You're gonna throw Clifford the Big Red Dog in there. 2 interceptions against the Cincinnati.
You hate your new quarterback so much that you're like, he's gonna get hurt week 1. He's got no shot. No shot.
No.
All right, let's pretend. So without him, you go 3-14. Let's say he stays healthy all season.
Gonna happen.
Let's just say in a fantasy land it does. What's the record if Jordan Love stays healthy all year? If it's 3-14 without him, what is it with him?
All right, I'll propose a question to you.
Okay.
Look at our first 5 games. You got the Bears.
Yep.
The Falcons.
Yeah.
The Lions. The Saints.
Vegas.
If we had Aaron Rodgers back there, what are we?
I don't know, 3-2.
Probably 4-0.
Well, you said the first 5 games, so.
Yeah, 4-1. With Jordan Love as quarterback, we're 0-5.
We're all right. So, Rick, I mean, so you're 3-14 with Jordan Love if he stays healthy.
He's not going to stay healthy. No chance. And then Clifford the Big Red Dog or Mr. Mugu in there.
How is there no chance that he stays healthy?
He sucks.
The world is falling apart in Green Bay as we speak.
The eternal optimist has finally broken.
The last 4 years, and now we got this clown in there.
At least you have the Bucks. You know.
The Brewers are in first place.
The Brewers.
They're not going to do much in the playoffs.
I feel like we need to swoop in and say do we it's not the we have to swoop in and
we need to make over-under bets on win totals with all of our mods because they're so passionate about their teams in opposite directions apparently this year.
Should I be more
made a bet with me.
Like reckoning saying the Steelers are going to win 14 games?
I didn't say 14.
You said, all right, was it 13? Anyways.
I think I did say 13.
So in all honesty, if we win more than 6 games this year.
So, okay, so the over-under total is 7.5. So you have the under 7.5
would take
wins.
the under. I honestly would.
I think that's
Yes.
very safe to say that he has the under on this one, Chris.
Well, now I guess
I know about that.
all of our Green Bay talk is just like shot now.
How-
Now I can't get excited about Green Bay anymore.
How do you know Jordan Love sucks?
Sucks.
What? I'm sorry. What?
That's just it.
He
He's not.
sucks.
He's a rookie throwing to no one.
Oh, you keep saying he's a rookie. He's been in the
They're
league for
gonna
like
run the
37
ball.
years now.
I think Aaron Jones is going to have a big year because that's all he's going to be able to do is throw it in the flat because he can't throw the ball.
You mean what Aaron Rodgers did all the time? That Aaron Rodgers threw short. That's all he was towards the end.
Four-time MVP.
Gosh.
Don't. Okay.
All right.
Like-
Well,
And one-time Super Bowl champion.
breaking news.
Yeah.
Breaking news, the Packers are going to be awful and Jordan Love is an absolute bust.
Hey, if I had to say who's going to win this division,
Besides
Minnesota.
the Packers, obviously.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
So you got Minnesota over the Detroit Lions, which we're going to get to in a second here.
I don't trust Jared Goff. I really don't. And they're out without their wide receivers for what, 4 games?
6.
Just one of them, but yeah. Just a guy that really didn't contribute last year either, but yes.
Because he was hurt.
Correct.
Yeah, he missed like what, 12 games?
Yeah. They still got him on Ra over there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Well,
Where
Milwaukee's.
you go. I don't even know if I can I can't talk about the Packers at this point. Love sucks. Their team sucks. Everyone sucks. Everyone's gonna get hurt, and it's gonna be an abomination in Green Bay. You heard it here first.
Oh, our
Hey.
defense does not suck. We got a very good defense. We have a very good offensive line. We have a very good team. We just got no quarterback.
How do you feel about LaFleur? Head coach Matt LaFleur.
He sucks.
Again, I don't entirely disagree.
Well, of course.
He had Aaron Rodgers.
Is there a coach you like, Greg?
Yes, there is.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I like your coach.
Well, yeah. He's.
I mean,
everybody
you're a
likes
rookie
Andy
head
Reid.
coach and you inherit
He's a
a
big
13
teddy
and
bear.
13 and you got Aaron Rodgers. Wait, this sounds like a good game.
I don't think you're representing that correctly. When I don't think they went 13-3 and fired their head coach and brought in Matt LaFleur.
Actually, they fired McCarthy mid-season.
They didn't go 13-3 that year.
Yeah, what they do? 10 games? Is it 10 and 6?
I don't even think they won that many that year.
Milwaukee
I'm
went
trying
to
to-
Emma, Miss Cleo for psychic prediction. By the way, Joker says Steelers are not winning 13.
The good news is we don't have to worry about Milwaukee's win if they do struggle. Like he's gonna be fine. He's actually gonna be excited about it. He's
You're
gonna be like, I
you're
fucking
mentally
told all of you.
preparing
I
yourself.
told all of you.
Yeah, Caleb Williams
suck.
coming to town, baby.
You're mentally
Ooh,
preparing yourself.
I wouldn't get on that train. I don't know that Green Bay's gonna
Yeah,
be in
'cause
the
I
Caleb Williams sweepstakes.
Yeah, like Arizona and India are still going to be worse.
Ugh.
And Bakhtiari will be traded by week 5 when we start out 0-5.
I mean, he would be a hot trade commodity, especially with the importance of offensive line.
He's the
Who's
best
your-
left tackle in football.
You know what's funny about all this though, Chris, is he talks about their first 5 weeks, how they're gonna go 0-5,
the easiest schedule you can have.
purposely avoiding their next opponent, which is Denver. Chris, he must feel like they get a W.
Do you get a dub against Denver?
Week in week
Do you
7
get a,
against.
do you
Denver.
get a dub against Denver? Milwaukee?
Wait, where's it at?
It's in Denver.
Yeah, Love's not going to the Mile High Stadium.
Hey,
Well, yeah, he got hurt weeks ago. You're on a probably QB4 at this point.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's
Hi,
not
Mo.
able to
This is
travel with the
I didn't
team.
think we'd have this much fun talking about the Packers, but I guess here we are. Like, you know.
You're gonna get Clifford the Big Red Dog out there starting, or Mr. Magoo.
Yeah, but
if
if he sucks, he's gonna get hurt week 2. So then who do you go to?
It's going to be
Yeah,
like
we
the
don't
San
know
Francisco
what-
49ers all over again, you know?
Oh no!
Mr. Magoo. XFL MVP coming to town.
Let me get to the
Come
chat here. Cheers to the Packers. But that team is stacked. Jordan Love has a total of 606 career passing yards. Cuban, because people love to hate. Hi-oh.
660 career passing yards.
I think it was
Does that include college?
666.
600, yeah.
Does that include college?
Not a good thing.
Day 10.
Does that include Huh?
Bakhtiari hasn't been healthy in 2 to 3 seasons.
Well, he's healthy.
Bot costs too much to be traded.
That might also be a problem.
Says Donkey. Joker's
So
enjoying it as a
You
Vikings
guys are
fan.
so fucked. Can't even trade your best
we are.
asset.
We are fucked.
I
agree with you, Scotty.
Is there a place in Denver called Cerebral Brewing? I mean, there's a lot of breweries out here. I haven't been to.
Yeah.
What was the one that Grassi
Real
went
place.
to?
Yeah, there
What's the brewery
is.
that Tom Grassi went to?
That was Breckenridge Brewery. Yeah,
Okay.
which is a massive brewery down here in South Denver. But
Yeah.
Cerebral Brewing is existing here in Denver. I haven't been. It's off of Moreau Street downtown.
I have not been either, but yeah, it exists.
I don't know if you saw the video of Grassi visiting Denver, but you would absolutely love it.
I caught a little bit of it, but I didn't see the whole thing, so I got to check it out. But
He and Predator actually got to touch their Super Bowl trophies.
nice. Well,
Yeah.
Chris and Scotty, is
touching
not
greatness.
this not a big term from where I was last year? I was saying Super Bowl. all this.
Which leads me to believe that you guys might be real good this year. But I'll be right back.
So it's like the Code Yellow.
And I did when you called me an idiot because I won the Pick'em Challenge.
You won the Survivor League.
Yep.
yep. So this year, are you back in it? Are you defending your title?
Oh, I'm going to. I never
Let's
got
go.
a prize for that, but hopefully I'm in the main league for the fantasy football this year.
Yep.
Uh,
You gotta
Doc-
stay in the Discord and keep
I already
asking, get
did,
ready.
Rack.
Donkey, how's
I know.
Casa Bonita coming along? I heard it's still remodeling. They're still working on it, but it's going to be back. It's going to be back for all you Casa Bonita lovers out there that have heard the fables and the folk stories of Casa Bonita. The myth is real and it's happening. So if you ever come out to Denver, join us in our Discord. Maybe we have a part. Maybe we should party over at Casa Bonita. Isn't it open now? I don't know. It's been delayed, Bush, for a while, and I don't know why. But I mean, I guess there's some. I don't know. I haven't really followed the specific details, but I know it's a little bit behind schedule.
Been to Denver plenty of times. How far exactly is the airport from downtown? A half hour?
It's a long way. Our airport. Let's
way
just
out
let's
there.
just be
It's a
real.
big
Our
town.
airport is like in the boonies, for real.
Yeah.
It's not close, and it's
Nothing
kind of
wrong with the boonies.
it's kind of a pain in the ass, realistically. Isn't it? What is Casa Bonita, Dr. J? Casa Bonita is one of the premier spots. It's got a lot of the folklore has a lot of good and bad. It's for its Mexican food that is absolutely like worse than microwave food. And it's all you can eat. The sopapillas are incredible.
Ooh.
The sopapillas are absolutely the best thing on the menu by far, but it's all you can eat, like cheese enchiladas, chicken enchiladas, tacos, whatever. All of it's trash. Historically, all of it's trash Mexican food. It's not good at all. It's like
how much is the all you can eat? $13.99?
It's like, I think it was like $20 or something, but it's not good. It wasn't ever good.
Is it getting
But
good?
the creators of South Park came in. They're both from Colorado. They wanted to, when they heard it was going out of business, buy it and renovate it and make it good again. But they have indoor cliff diving into like big, massive like waterfalls. They have caves. They have all sorts of it's like absolutely one of the coolest environments. They have arcades. They have all sorts of things. I can't even do it justice. Like they have shows. Casa Bonita is one of the one of the coolest, weirdest places you'll ever be if you ever come here to Denver and experience it. But it's on the upswing. $40 plus to eat. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. But Casa Bonita,
what could go wrong?
how could you describe? How do you describe Casa Bonita, Scotty?
What could go wrong when you're eating shitty Mexican food and
Well,
Great sopapillas.
It's supposed to be better now. They have new kitchen staff, new chef that came in. It's supposed to be better food. I haven't tried it yet.
But you've been there a few times in your life.
Pre-opening for 837 times. It was awful before, but it's an experience, Chris.
It's an experience.
You go and watch people jump off a cliff.
Have you ever been to like Rainforest Cafe? And it blows Rainforest Cafe out of the water. But
Rainforest
out of the
reason
water.
that thing went bankrupt. Well, they just had like the sounds of the rainforest and some weird scenery.
But now this place has 50% less diarrhea.
Yeah,
Maybe.
at least.
But the sopapillas are worth something there. The sopapillas are
my
good.
daughters loved rainforest cafes. They like seeing the lions and they had a good time.
An experience right to my toilet.
Exactly.
It's gonna be
I think if we take, I know this is going back to the Packers real quick, but if we take anything from tonight, I think what we all need to do is we sign off tonight, we go on, we make a substantial wager on the Packers to win the NFC North. I think it's happening, guys.
We should move the line. Can we move the line? Let's move the line. Currently, currently the Packers are plus 350. That's 3.5 to 1 on your money, guys.
No.
Let's move
This
that
is
line to
free money.
4.5 to, or I mean, a 2.5 to 1.
Go the other way.
2.5 to 1.
Hey, as a proud owner of the Packers, if this happens, thank you.
Just to be clear,
It's gonna happen.
you understand as a owner of the Packers that you're not an owner of the Packers, right?
I am an owner.
Okay.
I got a piece of paper that tells me I am an owner.
Ooh.
Do you own the Chiefs?
No.
Yeah, I own the Packers.
No, you don't. What does that ownership get you? What can you do with that ownership?
He owns 0.5% of the Packers.
No, he
vote.
does not.
I could vote Mike Murphy out if I really wanted. If I got the other million people to vote with me.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone in Green Bay, and then a lot of people outside of Green Bay own the Packers, but they don't. It's fine.
No, I do.
It's actually just a scam to get you guys to pay them money.
Yeah, we bought a nice scoreboard with my $350.
Okay.
You paid for it.
Oh,
Rightfully
absolutely.
so. Rightfully so. Casa Bonita is
I'm an
what the
owner.
three
I gotta
amigos.
invest in my squad.
Right. And a lot of other teams get nice scoreboards without having to pay a dime for it.
Wait, does Kansas City own their stadium? Or does the city own it?
I think
I think the city owns the stadium. I think I'm not entirely sure.
I do think that's correct.
So that means the taxpayers are paying for your scoreboard.
Well, I'm not.
I mean, just
I'm
saying.
not.
All right, you live in Denver. The Broncos own their stadium.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You?
I don't pay shit for Broncos though.
Well, and they're going to have a new stadium from maybe the sounds of it here soon. We'll see. I don't know. We got Walmart money. Casa Bonita is what the three amigos think a Mexican restaurant is like. True. I bought a share of the Packers, maybe, but just so I could tell all my Packers friends I own them. Denver's owned by Walmart. Deep pockets. True.
Do I got another co-owner here?
Maybe.
I mean, they're everywhere. So yeah.
Let's get into the final team in this division real quick before the end of the night. We have the favorite Lions to win this division, plus 145 currently. So you're getting, not terrible odds at this point. Oh no, look who we popped in to our of course.
I hear noises.
I heard lion. I said the word lions, and all of a sudden we have a special guest pop in, and here we go.
Can you turn off the background noise, please?
we
even know it was
have
on.
chairman of the board coming
yeah,
in
we
here
can mute.
talking about his Lions.
I gotta mute you guys. Okay.
Wait, who are you muting?
Well, I had to mute
All
your
of a sudden, we
screen.
went.
We were the background noise?
Yeah, that was you.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know I
sorry.
was on.
I thought I
Having
heard
a
an
little
annoying- I
in-depth
heard
conversation
my-
with Helv backstage there.
Ooh.
Okay, there you go.
Oh,
But
sorry.
Are you a little more positive about your team's chances this year? By chance?
Well, let's see. Our quarterback sucks. Our offensive line sucks. Our no. Yeah, I think I am. Yeah, but I all I can say is I hope that Milwaukee's right about everything that he believes.
okay, well, we have the Lions here. Let's recap. Yeah, plus 145 to win, but the over under total right now 9.5 wins. So I'm going to ask you the same questions I asked Milwaukee's. Do they hit the over on the 9.5 wins, Chairman? And 2, where do you see them finishing in this division when it's all said and done?
This is so hard because I've been hurt so many times. It's like when your girlfriend breaks up with you and you just can't really get into another relationship.
Yeah.
We're all in Detroit just waiting. We're waiting for the thing to happen. I don't know what the thing is, but something always happens. So we're kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. But for right now, I mean, got to be optimistic. I mean, there's nothing to not be optimistic about. I think I'd have to take, I mean, if you putting my house on the line or whatever, I'd have to take the over. I mean, this is a 10-win team, right?
Well, you have 2 wins automatically against the shit-ran Packers.
Apparently, yeah. Apparently, that'll be two easy
That's
wins.
a good one. They should, you know what they should do is get more
Roger.
ownership out there. I think that's the problem.
The Packers.
Exactly.
Right, that's for sure.
Damn.
All right. So obviously, been a long time since the Lions have had expectations probably as the favorite in this division moving into the season. Do they handle it? Like, is Jared Goff that guy? Is Jared Goff that guy? Obviously, I know he made a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm most concerned about, to be perfectly honest, because he played well last year, especially the last 10 games of the season. Was that the real Jared Goff, or was it the guy from before? And it's, who knows? But I think part of it is our offensive coordinator is a stud, and I think he knows how to put guys in a position to win. The dude's just a wizard. He dials stuff up. He's always thinking 3 plays. He'll set something up in the first half that's going to set up a play to work, even though it'll be a 3-yard gain or maybe even a loss. But he's setting something up for later, and then they'll run something later that looks just like it, but it's something different. And he's just a wizard with that stuff. He's done great, and I think I hope he'll put Goff in a position to win. So I think Goff will be fine. But again, I could go through a whole list of you've heard the phrase "same old Lions." We have another phrase around here that's only the Lions. There are things that happen to this team. The Calvin Johnson catch against the Bears. I mean, they made a whole rule out of that. We had the game against the Falcons where we scored a touchdown at the end of the game, and then they said they reviewed it and decided it wasn't a touchdown. And since there was only 10 seconds left on the clock and they reviewed it, that's a 10-second runoff, so the game was over. Like, they didn't even get another play. Like, if they would have just called it not a touchdown in the first place, they run up and get another playoff. So because they missed the call, the Lions lost the game, is what it boiled down to. Anyway, that kind of stuff. We're just so used to that stuff. That's why I'm just waiting. But like I said, there's no reason, trying to look at this objectively as if I haven't been burned a million times by this team. I think the loss of Jamal Williams hurts in the locker room, because I do think he was a huge part of changing the culture. And anybody who watches Hard Knocks, I'm sure knows what I'm talking about. He was a great interview. But being real, I mean, I think that Montgomery's an upgrade. from pure running back perspective. And I think Gibbs is an upgrade to Swift. And I know I heard you last time talk about, I was just watching your YouTube video where you guys are breaking down running backs about how the Eagles don't seem to like Swift now either. Yeah, I don't know what they kept that very quiet, but there were quiet rumors that he was a bit of a problem in the locker room with the coaching staff. I don't know enough about it because, like I said, they kept it very quiet. But I'm just curious if that's part of the reason they let him go so cheap, and maybe part of the reason
Probably
the Eagles don't love him.
Yeah,
but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think that there's like, he's got issues deeper than, it's transferring from team to team. It's a common denominator with him specifically that I think there's a lot of teams having issues with.
Yeah, and it's a shame because there's no question the kid's got talent.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that falls apart. So the offensive line is pretty great. So there's no reason not to be optimistic about that. They've had no real setbacks. The wide receiver core, get Marvin Jones Jr. back, who was a solid player. I don't think he's a number 1 by any means, or maybe even number 2, but he's a solid number 3, maybe a 2.5, if that's a thing. Obviously, the suspension to
DJ Chark.
Yeah, I'm actually bummed about that. He's a great 3. I mean, maybe even borderline 2 again. The suspension hurts to Jameson Williams. That's a very Lions thing to happen. We got this guy that's ready to light the world on fire and finished the last year with some nice catches when they finally got him in the games, and then suspended for gambling for 6 weeks. It's just, I think he was gambling in college basketball, if I remember right, which isn't a league violation, but it was because he did it. I've heard different stories, but I think in the team hotel was what I heard.
Yeah, I don't know what sport it was, but it was definitely somewhere on like a team facility. Which doesn't matter.
I think what I heard, and this could be wrong, you hear things, but I think what I heard was it was actually in a hotel rooms, but it was because it was a team event. That's clearly, I guess, outlined that's one of the places you can't, and who knows what really happened, but I'm picturing the dude in his room at night on his phone, like placing a couple of bets, thinking nothing of it, and then next thing you know, he's gone for 6 games. But there's also been some question marks about his attitude, and he's not making a ton of friends so far, but it's nothing that a couple touchdown catches won't cure. But we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, and I think here it's kind of like the hype of the end of the last season, right? Because the first portion of the season started out slow, right? You were like, what was it, 1-6 start, right? And then
you think so? Yeah, 1-6.
1-6, and then you end the year hot, right? You end up going on a crazy run down the stretch to what they were.
I think it was 8-2 down the stretch.
8-2 down the stretch. So yeah, they absolutely crushed the end of the season. So that's where the hype comes from. You knock out the Packers of the playoff contention. I feel like that was a changing point for this franchise because, like, honestly, you guys have always been the team that's been like second fiddle to the Packers or whoever, right? And then all of a sudden, you knock out the Packers in this big moment in the last game of the season, right? And that's kind of a big moment. As weird as it sounds, as you didn't have much thing else outside of that to play for. That was a big moment because that was the changing of the guard. Now you have Jared Goff's resurgence, right? He came into the end of the season on fire, right? He finished the season with 15 touchdowns to 0 interceptions on the last 9 games of the season. 7-2 down that stretch, 7.7 yards per attempt, 105.9% passer rating on that. So he was a top 5 scoring offense, 26.6 points per game, 5th best in the NFL. He led the league in touchdown interception ratio. Like, he was, overall, there's some positive things. It's just like that first start really kind of screwed up what our entire vision of the Lions was last season because of
And it was the defensive side of the ball.
Sure.
Even early on, the offense was playing well. The defense was, especially the first half, the worst defense in the NFL. And got a little better, certainly, that second half, but still ended the year bottom, very close to the bottom of the league and a lot of defensive stats. So that's where everything, the progress is going to have to be made.
Yeah, I'll talk about defense in a second, but I just want to say, Chris, you like as someone in Detroit, like you nailed it. Like that Green Bay game was huge. Even though, like, a lot of people complained that there was a lot of complaints about the Seattle against the Rams. Seattle needed to beat the Rams to get in, and they needed us to beat the Packers. And people were mad because they said, well, if Seattle wins first, Detroit's got nothing to play for, and that's not fair that they'll already know. And what I kept telling people, and what anyone in Detroit would tell you, is it just didn't matter. Like, they were going to go out there and try to win that game. It was their Super Bowl. I mean, that's the way they built it. And they tried to not even know the score. I think some players did find out, but like after the game, like they were interviewing Jamal, and he was like, "Yeah, who won? I don't even know." Like, and basically, Dan Campbell told him, like, "Hey, if we're not going to the playoffs, they're not going either. That's our attitude." There was no way they were going to lay down for that game. They were probably more up for that game because the Seattle won, and then the Packers were going to go to the playoffs if they won. So you're right. It was a huge turning point. It was a huge deal. Like I said, it was it became their Super Bowl once they were eliminated from the playoffs anyway. So it was a big deal. About the defense. Well, they did play better down the stretch. Obviously, they played really bad at the beginning of the year, so they almost had to nowhere to go but up. But I think Jack Campbell, the linebacker they drafted, is probably going to end up starting. Seems like a stud. He's doing really well so far from all reports. We picked up Gardner Johnson in the secondary. I think it's going to be a much improved defense. I wish they had Williams had not gotten suspended. I think I didn't even talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. As high as I was on him last year, I think he's probably going to have an even better year this year. Even though I'm sure everybody's going to see him coming this year, where they may not have last year. He's just I've seen him in training camp. He's just a workhorse. Dude is just, his motor is always running. It doesn't matter if it's practice, if it's a game, if it's whatever you're doing, man. You could be playing tiddlywinks with the guy, and he's going to be going all out to beat you. It just doesn't matter. By the way, there's a great podcast with he and his brother that plays for the Bears that they do a podcast together on is it 33rd Network or something like that. But it's on YouTube. They do some great stuff together. They do a little Bears, Lions trash talk once in a while. So check that out if you get a chance. But yeah, I think the defense will be improved. I think there's no reason to think that they shouldn't win the division, other than I'll say, like, I'm not sleeping on Minnesota. I know they get no respect. They didn't get any respect last year. They never do for whatever reason, but they always just seem to keep winning. So, the old phrase, if you want to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. So I think those games against Minnesota are going to be huge because they need to win those games and put them out of their misery, if that's where they're headed. Like, why did Scotty, you had a really interesting stat earlier. Would you say they were -3 or something like that in differential?
-3.
That's
differential for Minnesota.
Incredible.
Insane. Considering their season. I mean, 13 wins, right?
Yeah, considering their season, exactly.
Wild.
That's amazing. So I don't know how they pulled that off, but that's what they got to do. They got to beat the Vikings. It's the Vikings are champs until they're beaten, and then, just as a Lions fan who's been through this so many times, Aaron Rodgers comes along after Favre, and I think we got a shot, and then Aaron Rodgers turns out to be Aaron Rodgers, and then who knows what Fields is going to be. So I'm not taking anything for granted.
Well,
but
and in Detroit, you still have Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery. I mean, those are a couple running backs that you feel really good about going into the NFL season, especially with the upside of Jameer Gibbs and what he could potentially be out of Alabama. But I think that we've talked a lot about boring players are going to produce. And I think David Montgomery is a guy that in Detroit, I think he could have a really good and productive season. So, I mean, there's a lot of things to be excited about for Detroit. Again, I think, there's some good challenges here with, first of all, Minnesota, but then also, the hype is there. So, can they live up to it? Is this going to be? Are the Lions? Can they handle being the hunted as opposed to being the hunters? They're always kind of, we're going to catch up to you guys. They're currently in the position they've never been in, and that's favorites. That doesn't happen. So can they take that role and run with it? I don't know. We'll find out this year.
Yeah, that's the question. You're absolutely right. And I think Dan Campbell's the right guy because, when they 1-6 last year, they could have easily thrown in the towel. And not one of those guys quit on him.
He's a great players coach. He's motivating. Yeah. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's out there doing up and down drills with those guys. The dude's still jacked. So, he can do it. But, he's definitely a player's coach.
Now, you talked about how big the last game of the season was last year, beating the Packers, preventing them from making the playoffs, carrying that momentum into this season. And then the schedule makers do you no favors. You start off 0-1 this year.
We're going to get to that.
You start off 0-1 this year to start the season. Are you able to just bounce back from that and be like, hey, that's, nothing to be ashamed about. We lost to the world champs.
I'm going to tell you something. I almost feel like, well, first of all, I agree with you that they did the Lions no favors. I think that it's a good, I think they did the fans a favor because I think that's a great week 1 matchup. But the Lions are in kind of a no-win situation because if they do pull off the upset and beat the Chiefs, the target on their back just got 10 times bigger. The hype. Even Dan Campbell's been trying to say, Dan Campbell's like, look, we haven't won anything yet. I don't know what all this hype is about, which is the right thing for a coach to say. But if they go out and upset the Chiefs in Kansas City, we might go on a 4-game losing streak just because it's just, how team chemistry goes. You're just like,
Now, I will say historically, Jared Goff in his career against the Chiefs has averaged 413 yards passing a game, 4 touchdowns, and putting up 50-some points.
Well, there you go. We're going to the Super Bowl, baby.
It was just one game, but I don't know if you remember that Monday night game where the Chiefs put up 50 and lost. But
so that's still his average, though.
Still his average. It's one game, but it's still his average.
So fun fact, do you know where they were? Do you know that's not where they were supposed to play?
Mexico.
Yeah, they were supposed to play in Mexico, but then Shakira ruined everything. Hips lied to us. Hips lied.
What are we talking about? Hips never lie, Rec. Hips don't lie.
They lied to us.
Yeah. I feel like, Scotty, there needs to be something. I don't know what it is. We need to come up with something for this game for us.
Okay.
Ooh. And I think the last spread I saw, was around 6.5.
Yeah. Somewhere around there.
We'll have to figure something out for that.
We got what, 24 days here?
24 days. Let's go. We're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's gonna. So, yeah. I mean, that's.
Wait, here's one more fun fact for you. The Detroit Lions have never won the NFC North.
No, it's 96. I thought.
That's not real.
It's real.
Maybe just when they last won, it was the NFC Central. I'm assuming
it was Central. Yeah.
Yeah, because there were no Eastern. There were no North and South divisions.
The Lions, they last won a division title in 1993 when the teams were members of the NFC Central. So now
Black and Blue division.
Yeah. So now it's so yeah, yeah.
To be fair, in Madden with Barry Sanders, I've won a division more recently than that.
So I've won multiple Super Bowls.
Yeah.